What's good, everybody? Welcome into Inside the Green Room with Danny Green. I'm Harrison Sanford. You guys know the vibes. On today's show, we're going to talk, of course, about the NBA, but in particular, the in-season tournament. The quarterfinals are set. Danny and I are going to break it down, and he's going to give his impressions of the first season of this inaugural in-season tournament. We're also going to look at the worry meter for a couple of teams in the NBA. Is Danny worried about those Los Angeles Clippers? What about those Golden State Warriors who got an injury to one of their more pivotal players Tuesday night in the association? But we start with what might be seen as a medical miracle, Danny, literally. And we're going to go to the NFL for this. So a news came out on Wednesday, November 29th, that Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback for the New York Jets, is going to be cleared to return to practice, and his practice window is now open for the next 21 days. Why is this so spectacular for those who don't know about the NFL? Well, Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles the first week of the NFL season. So, first week of September, this would make him this is 11 weeks since tearing his Achilles, Danny. 11 weeks before he returns to practice. Nobody in the history of the NFL has returned to the field in less than 5 months. And even 5 months seems like an incredible feat. But Danny, we're talking about 3 months from a torn Achilles from Aaron Rodgers, who I believe is now age 38, 39. Quite the medical miracle that is even feasible. But I don't even think you believe what has happened here. As obviously you've never torn your Achilles, but obviously you did have rehab from the torn ACL and MCL. What is your reaction to all of this?
Yes, I don't believe it. I've seen other people. I have had friends who've torn Achilles. I've seen other people who've torn Achilles. I've seen Kevin Durant, who has a lot of money and a lot of resources as well, who has torn Achilles, and Klay Thompson, similar situation, who have not come back this fast. So yes, it is unbelievable. I don't believe it. I don't know so there's a lot of things that come into play, a lot of questions. I don't know how much of a tear it was on his Achilles. If it's a partial tear, a small tear, I think that comes into play. I don't know what his open to practice means. Does this mean he's watching film? Is he just in practice, dropping back, throwing some passes, or is he actually practicing? To come back in 11 weeks from an Achilles tear is a damn near impossible. And if this is true and he feels great, hopefully he doesn't re-injure it. I think the reason why people take so much longer is because the possibility of re-injure is a higher percentage when you come back that fast. So you got to take your time with it. And if he's that healthy, give us the remedies, bro. Like, we need to know. You know what I'm saying? I need to get my brother back. Hey, Aaron, yo, hit your boy up. You know what I'm saying? We got a couple people we know here with Achilles issues, and we all could use the remedies or whatever it is that you're using, whatever you found. Was the youth, the little river of youth? I don't know what you found to get yourself back healing that fast, but I said I don't believe it, and I won't believe it until I see him on the field playing.
Yeah, as a man who tore his Achilles, I am absolutely amazed at this. Now, he has done some interviews.
I don't know if you noticed, I called him Aaron. You know what I'm saying? Me and Aaron we tight like that. Me and Aaron.
You and Aaron. You know what's sad but true? You know what's sad but true? Two nights ago was the first time that I've ever seen that Key and Peele skit to actually understand where the Aaron.
Unbelievable. That's unbelievable, bro. That's unbelievable. You live in under.
I had no idea. I'm like, why do people keep saying Aaron? And it wasn't until 2 nights ago that I saw it.
You're unreal, bro. But nah, all jokes aside, I'll call him Mr. Rodgers. I don't know what. Mr. Rodgers, let us know what you got when it comes to healing these bodily issues faster, because we need to know. The world needs to know. And Harrison needs to get from underneath a rock and watch some TV in his life.
I do. Oh, by the way, I will say this as it pertains to TV. Have you started watching the new Fargo season? I am a fan. John Hamm is in it. I'm a fan so far. I'm a fan. But let's get back to sports real quick. So I believe he did an interview with the Pat McAfee show, his weekly appearances, and some of the things that he was talking about was more holistic approach and like a different look at kind of doing things. I believe he would be sitting in a dark room and listening to things like dolphin sounds or something like that. I don't know how much of that tells the process.
That doesn't sound very. That sounds very weird. I don't want to say what comes to mind, but you know. I don't know if you watched the Dahmer series.
I didn't watch that. I didn't want to watch that. I didn't want to watch that.
Sounds very Dahmer-ish, but I'm not going to put him in that category. But, Dahmer used to listen to whale sounds when he was that was one of the weird things, the ominous whale sounds, and made it kind of creepy when you watch the series.
That's wrong. Yeah. I didn't watch that, but I'll tell you about the procedure. Now, apparently it was done by a guy by the name of Dr. El Achatri. I'm butchering his name possibly.
Dr. El Atrash, man, that's my doctor. He did my knee.
That's your doc. Okay, Dr. El Atrash. That's the guy who did the surgery on one Aaron Rodgers. Oh, now he has connective fiber here. Okay, he's the one who did it. He also is the person who worked on Kobe Bryant's Achilles in 2013, Conor McGregor's leg in 2021, Shohei Ohtani's elbow recently in 2023 and this year. And so apparently he underwent what was called a speed bridge surgery. And I'll read here what I'm not a doctor here, so I'm just going to read what I've read. It's a speed bridge surgery which enables doctors to create a knotless repair by threading high-strength suture tape, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, which looks like a string through both sides of the tendon, then tightly pulling together until the tendon reattach. Surgery helps protect the Achilles from stretching and requires just a 2 to 3 centimeter cut, which aids in the recovery time. Thoughts?
I said, I got to talk to Dr. El Atrash about this one. I still said I'm not going to believe it until I see him playing on the field. And even when I tried to come back, I was cleared after 8 months. He gave me the clearance, but he didn't want to because it was so soon. He's not used to seeing patients come back that soon. Especially mine was a double ligament surgery, or come back sooner than they should because he doesn't want to see re-injury. Then, he's under hot water or he's under fire for allowing this person to be cleared when they're not fully healthy or when they're susceptible to re-injury. So if Dr. El Atrash is clearing this, then we need to have a conversation.
Yeah, maybe you circle back. You know what you should do? Maybe we should hit him up. Maybe we get him on the show and he could talk about some of the procedures that he's done on some of these famous athletes. That might be a good get.
He's done a long list of people. I think he started in the acting field first because him and Stallone's. I think he's related to Stallone's somehow, some way. You'd have to look this up to research. But El Atrash and Sylvester Stallone are tight. I think somehow one married one of the other sister, daughter, brothers-in-laws, something like that, in-laws. And I think he started in the acting world first and then branched out to the sports world. And he's been doing knees and elbows and Achilles. He's done shoulder. He's doing a lot of things, for some top guys. Anybody that's in LA and has got surgery in LA or anywhere pretty much that have want to go to the best doctors. He's one of the main well-known guys.
Okay, well, we need to talk to him. And we also need to talk about the National Basketball Association, in particular the in-season tournament. Let's get into it. Now that we know what the quarterfinals are set like, I must admit, Danny, going into the season, I was skeptical if the in-season tournament was going to work, if people were actually going to care. I hated the courts. I still hate the courts, and I will forever hate the courts. But I will say this. I am an absolute fan, and if for anything, it's because of the point differential. Because I've seen a couple of athletes, couple players get mad that teams are running up with a score on them, and it made me say to myself, deal with it. You know the circumstances going into the game. You know a team has to beat you by X amount of points. Shame on you if you let them beat you by, let's say, 23 points or more. Hello, Chicago Bulls. I absolutely love the point differential factor of it because it adds a level of spiciness. I understand players might feel disrespected by it, but it is what it is. This is what you're signed up for. Participate. Don't gripe about it. Your thoughts?
I hate it. And
I'm shocked that Daddy, come on.
You just want to see WWE fight. Like,
yes!
You want to see Spice.
This is not entertainment. This is entertainment.
Yes, but this is a basketball game. This is not, you know what I'm saying? We don't need to scrap. We don't need to have hockey. Now, I do think that we should allow more freedom of emotion where less technicals happen and where guys get chippy. They shouldn't be thrown out the game. But I don't think you should be initiating that or encouraging that, or trying to get to that direction. This is a sportsmanship like type of sport. And you got to respect the game.
This is part of the rule. This is respect. This is respecting the game because the rules in order to move on as a wild card is point differential. So this is a rule that's instituted.
Change the rules because it's silly, and all you're gonna do is cause for more havoc, and you're gonna look toward some type of. We don't need that. We don't need that in our league, man. Just respect the game. You don't need to be up 30 fouling guys. That's ridiculous. And yes, I do agree with the courts are a little too much. I do like that they changed the courts so people know that's in-season tournament games. They are bright. They're a little too much. So we can change the courts. I think the teams with the best records should move on. The point differential thing is stupid. You're disrespecting the other team. It's not sportsmanlike. Yeah, guys, no disrespect to Joe Mazzulla, but he's doing what he's supposed to do. But you got guys like Joe Mazzulla playing against Billy Donovan and teaching him, even saying how the game goes, and then fouling him and telling him, and Billy has to accept it. He has to eat it. And it's like, nah, man, nah. You have respect for these players and that coach to not be doing that type of at the end of the game. You know what I'm saying? When you're up 30 to be playing foul game because of the point differential. Nah, man, just win the game, keep it moving. Get your best record. Guys with the best record should advance. I like the in-season tournament. I'm glad that it's working out. Court should change a little bit, and the point differential should not be a thing because it's stupid.
Hey, Danny, but here's my point differential, in my opinion, should say. Number one, saying who has the best. Saying listen.
The point differential is all for gamblers. That's all it's about.
It does help bettors. It does help bettors, and the bettors, and for the NBA's bottom line, they need to care about the bettors. So that's one point. Number two, you also have to factor this in. You can say, okay, which team has the better record? Well, that's not fair because certain teams have more home games. Certain teams have more road games. Certain teams had a harder strength of schedule. This is solely based on your collective. All the teams within one group have all played each other within that group. If the Los Angeles Lakers, for some reason, started the season with the Timberwolves, the Nuggets, the Boston Celtics, name a good team that's playing well, the Orlando Magic, the Indiana Pacers. Meanwhile, the Milwaukee Bucks only played the Washington Wizards, the Charlotte Hornets, and the Detroit Pistons. Of course, they're going to have a better record. There's no way that could be fair if you factor in the team record. The only way in which it's fair, or the most fair way, is if for it to be among common opponents' point differential. So I'm sorry. Maybe you could do a head-to-head record. That you can't do head-to-head because they're not the same group. If they had played head-to-head, maybe.
Schedule is more part of the game than the point differential to me. You got to eat the schedule. That's just how it is. The schedule is a schedule every year. That's something you can eat. Now, having to play in a game where guys are fouling on purpose when you're already up 30, or when you're up by 10 or 15 at the end of the game and guys are still trying to score. Nah, bro. That's not part of the game. That's not part of the game. Now the scheduling, the head-to-head, you can figure that out. The
in-season tournament wasn't a part of the game, and now it is. As time goes on, things are instituted to make the game more compelling, to make it more entertaining. This is why the value of the NBA is at an all-time high, because there continues to be improvements. And if one of the improvements are, hey, listen, we're going to do point differential now, then it is what it is. Bro, it happens in international soccer all the time. They're okay with it.
For sure, but we're not soccer. We could change the schedule. We could change the location. If you want to make it, the point differential needs to be excommunicated, and we could have the whole in-season tournament at neutral sites, if that's the case. Or the teams with the better record have to face off, or the second better records have to face off at a different location or something like that. Outside of that, though, the point differential, it's only for gamblers, bro. I'm not rolling. It's only for gamblers.
What is so disrespectful about a team saying, I need to win by this amount of points, and they go out and trying to do that? It's incumbent upon the opposing team to try and stop them.
It becomes disrespectful when you're in the game and you're up by a certain amount of points and you're still trying to score. That's when it becomes disrespectful. And if I have to explain that to the average fan or any person,
Danny. Come on, Danny.
We're not supposed to be having a conversation. Yes, I need to win about this amount of points. You can do that with playing the right way. You don't have to. You know what I'm saying? If you don't do it, you don't do it, but you still win.
When you played, and I'm going to take you back now. When you played at St. Mary's High School under head coach Tim Clues, did you not win games 70-15?
No.
Come on, Danny. Y'all didn't have a couple of OD blowouts when you played that series?
Yes, we had OD blowouts, but 70-15, that never happened.
Okay, give me an example of an OD blowout.
I think that we had the worst one. It was I think 70-25. I think that's what it was.
Okay. Y'all weren't running up the score?
No, we had our third string in. We weren't running up the score. Mind you, so that's a bad comparison. If I'm up a certain amount of points, I don't care if it's 6 or 8, and there's 10 seconds left, and I have the ball, the respect factor and the sportsmanship factor, you do not go to try to score because you're susceptible to somebody trying to you up, basically. They have free reign to foul you, foul you hard.
But they shouldn't be upset. They shouldn't be upset. If you know the rules, why would you be up? Swing on the NBA. Take your anger out on Adam Silver. But
that's why they need to change it.
That's not the other team's fault.
That's been the game since before time. And if you can't just change that to be like, oh, you shouldn't be upset. No. That's what the it's been since we've known it. Now you want us to not be upset because we put in these rules. No. Change these rules. And then you guys won't be upset. So that's what it is.
Danny, I know the NBA and its higher-ups care about its players. But you know who's priority?
We've seen it before. You've seen Lance Stevenson lay the ball up and DeMar and PJ ready to beat the dude up. This had nothing to do with in-season tournament.
So in-season tournament creates a little bit of grace. With that said,
it shouldn't create any grace. No, it's just before time. This is what it's been. This is what it's always going to be. Don't disrespect the game. Don't disrespect our team. Don't be doing highlights at the end of the game. Zion get a windmill dunk. You know what I'm saying? That type of stuff. You're susceptible of a fight or somebody taking you out, rightfully so, trying to injure you.
Well, listen, as a former player, I understand your viewpoint, but I am a consumer. I am trying to be entertained, and I know the NBA cares about my opinion, unfortunately, Danny, more than yours as a former player. NBA, don't stop with the point differential. I absolutely love it when teams and players are mad. It makes for better TV. It's more compelling. And honestly, if you're on the other side of a team that's getting smacked and because you're trying and the other team is trying to run up the point differential on you, too bad. Do something about it. Point blank, period.
They're gonna do something about it, and it's gonna be bad.
And if something bad happens, you know what it's gonna be? More ratings. It's how the cookie
Maybe so. But you have some other guys that are hurt now. I think some guys will be hurt and they'll be out the game for some time.
I doubt it gets to that point. Maybe there's a compromise, but I like the incentive that it gives for other teams to play at a certain level. And I'll tell you this right now. And for the bettors, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And they're going to cater to the bettors as well. All right, we can talk about it for days. Let's talk about the actual quarterfinals itself, Danny. Let me just get your prediction. It's going to be Knicks at Bucks, Celtics at Pacers. Yep, and then Suns at Lakers, Pelicans at Kings. First of all, we know the NBA is happy. You get LeBron, you get KD, you get the New York TV market, you get the Boston TV market, you get Giannis, you get Dame. They have to be ecstatic with the field for the quarterfinals. Tell me how it all ends up. Who wins? What's the finals and who wins it?
Man, that's tough. I'm either go Milwaukee, even though they've been in close games, they've been winning games. So I'm going to have probably Milwaukee, Boston in the Eastern Finals. And then the West, I'm going to go with Phoenix. And who else was left?
Pelicans, Kings.
I'm going to go with the Kings. Also, just because of health issues. Lakers have been balling, man, when they were healthy in the in-season tournament. They have been balling in-season tournament. They have health issues. They caught Phoenix early in the season before they got the rhythm. Book, I think, was out. I think he was hurt. Book is back now, and I think that Phoenix is in more of a rhythm. I think KD will be back at that point. I'm not sure. So
KD's back tonight, Wednesday night.
Okay, so then I got Phoenix over LA, and I got Sac over Pelicans, and then I got Indiana, even though they've been balling as well. I got the C's over Indiana, and then it's Milwaukee versus who?
Over the Knicks.
Yeah, I got Milwaukee over the Knicks.
Knicks will give them a tough one.
No, they've been playing, man. Shout out to Julius Randle, who's been balling. He's 2020 game the other night. He's since the start of the season, he had a rough start, but since then he's been picking his numbers up. Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, they've been hooping, man. So Knicks, they ain't nobody to sleep on. That might be my sleeper game because listen, Milwaukee's had a lot of close games, even with Washington. Knicks could get them, so this might be the game that said if I had to choose an underdog, it's probably the Knicks over the Bucks.
I got the Knicks beating the Bucks, definitely covering the spread, whatever that spread is end up going to be. But I'm going to wait for your finals pick, but I'm going to give my finals pick. I think end of the day, some way, somehow, Danny, this in-season tournament is all about creating additional revenue for the NBA. We know that the Boston Celtics right now, or since the beginning of the season, have looked like the best team in the NBA. We know LeBron James has been rumored to be interested in owning a team that eventually comes to Las Vegas. The Lakers have probably been the most vocal team about wanting to win that $500,000. Anthony Davis said it after one of their games in an in-season tournament game. He's never come back to the locker room and heard somebody say one step closer to 500,000. I think the Lakers care about this a lot more than maybe other teams, especially when you consider they have at least 6 to 7 players who are veteran minimum contracts. I think it ends up being the NBA's dream. In-season tournament, season 1, Lakers, Celtics. Adam Silver throwing a party if that's what ends up happening. And I think that's exactly what happens.
Yeah, I think all dreams don't come true, though. The Lakers have not been playing well. They have a lot of injuries. So with that being said, if they were healthy, but you got Gabe Vincent out, Rui Hachimura out,
how much you want to bet they'll be good by Monday, though? How much you want to bet they'll be good to go by Monday?
I could bet some money that a lot of those guys still will not be back. Maybe one of them might be back, but I don't see all of them being back at that time. Cam Reddish, I think he had a groin injury. Rui has a fracture on his face, so maybe him. Vando has a heel. Gabe has a knee issue. I just don't see all those guys coming back. And if they do come back, it still takes them a minute to get their chemistry right and get their rhythm. I don't see them beating the Phoenix Suns and trying to find your rhythm on that day.
Lakers, Celtics winning the in-season tournament. Who you got winning the whole thing?
I got Sacramento.
Sacramento?
Yeah. For some odd reason, I think this is going to be an underdog type of situation where a random team is going to win. And I think Sacramento is going to be that team. They've been playing well. I'm not wishing upon any injuries, but every other team is not healthy. And for some reason, I think Sacramento is probably going to be the healthiest. And they had a big win last night over Golden State, which I think put them right in that mode that they needed to be in. And I see them said they're going to beat New Orleans, and then they're going to, shock whoever the next team is and end up playing somebody that they shouldn't be playing probably in the East. It might be the New York Knicks. So we'll see. I think it's going to be interesting, but I think it's going to be Sacramento, Boston in the finals. And for some reason, I just think I just see a random team winning it. And I know Boston really wants to win it, but I see that's the game that they probably – it's a tournament. It's like the NCAA tournament, any given night, right?
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned that Sacramento Kings game Tuesday night against the Golden State Warriors. Going to talk about them in a little bit as well as we go to our worry meeting. But before we go to break, the winner of this in-season tournament, Danny, every single player gets the winner and the head coach gets $500,000. If I gave you $500,000 right now, let's say you had nothing to your name. Well, yeah, let's say you had the basics to your name. You have everything you need. You have everything you need, and now I'm giving you $500,000. What is the first thing you're buying?
I'm a normal civilian, and I have a
both normal civilian and you currently, Danny Green.
I think a normal civilian. I think they probably put down on a house, maybe. Okay. That probably their Christmas gift to themselves, if their family, their couple, whatever it is. They if they don't have to put down all of it for a house, get a nice house and put down some of it, furnish it, and then you have enough to carry the bills. And if you're still working a job and you don't quit your job, you can carry those bills fairly easily for the next 20 to 30 years or so, which most mortgages are. For an NBA player, I think that $500K goes to a nice Christmas gift to either themselves or their wife or their kids, or it's a nice little Christmas shopping type of situation for them. They can use that $500K to buy a bunch of people in their family some nice gifts.
Give me $500,000 right now, right? As I'm not saying it's the wisest thing. I'm calling up 5 to 10 of my homies. We're going on a trip, and then when the trip is over, all right, how much do I have left? I'm not saying it's the wisest thing to do, but that's how I would operate.
For sure, I think you still have a fairly good amount left after the trip. For me, I said I mean, yeah, trips are definitely a thing of mine. Is it a gift for me or for my crib that I would probably look into getting is probably art, a painting or something like that. So,
Okay.
or a watch. You know, I'm a watch guy. Either watches or art. Those are the things that I look into.
Speaking of watches, uh, your co-host might be an owner of a Rolex, or maybe not. We'll get into that story later in the show, and we'll also get to our worry meter right after the break. Stay tuned for that story in the end, and let's break down some more NBA in just a moment. What's good, everybody? We're back with Inside the Green Room. Harrison Sanford, Danny Green. You already know the vibes. We're going to skip the pick and roll this week. We're going to go to the worry meter this week. I'm going to bring up 3 teams that are not doing too well, and Danny's going to tell us how worried he is about them, or if he's not worried at all. 1 being the least amount of worry, Danny, and 5 being you are officially panicking if you're a fan of that actual team. We'll start with the Golden State Warriors. 8-10 on the season. Last 10 games, Danny, 2 wins, 8 losses. 13th in offensive rating, 16th in defensive rating. Andrew Wiggins had a good game Tuesday night, 29 points, 10 rebounds against the Kings. But overall this season, your boy is shooting under 60% from the free throw line, averaging 12 points a game, 26% from the three-point line. Yes, let me say that one more time. He's shooting under 60% from the free throw line, under 26% from the three-point line, and up until last week, Danny, no other player outside of Dario Saric, I repeat, no other player outside of Dario Saric scored more than 20 points in a game that wasn't named Steph Curry. Now, Klay Thompson has played a little bit better over the last 5 games or so, and has finally gotten over that 20-point barrier.
Young fella too, the young lefty. He scored 22. There was another young kid.
Yes, I know who you're referring to. Yes, but considering all of those stats, as of right now, they are 10th in the Western Conference, and considering the power of the Western Conference, what is your? I'll give it a caveat. What is your worry meter that the Golden State Warriors will not finish, will or will not finish in the top 6? As it pertains, I have to assume that they'll make the playoffs, whether they're a play-in team or not. But what is your worry meter as it pertains to Golden State finishing as a top 6 seed in the Western Conference? 1 being the least bit of worry, 5 being high alert.
I'm at a 4 or 5. I'm very high alert, especially with the fact that they just said Chris Paul, we don't know how long this injury is going to take. Gary Payton, the second, also got injured last night. So they have 2 injuries to 2 of their main guys. They're not very deep team. And your main guys, I said, are a little bit older. They are, having some issues with finding rhythm. So Wiggs, Klay struggled a little bit early. They're trying to find the rhythm. Draymond's finally back, 5-game suspension. We don't know, what may happen with health-wise of the other guys, but as of right now, I'm very concerned, and those guys have been healthy for the most part, but it's a long season. There's always bumps and bruises, so that means you're susceptible for another person to have another bump or bruise or be out for a couple of games. With that being said, if I'm the Golden State Warriors fan, I'm very concerned about my team being a top 6 and being solidified in the playoff spot, but they're always a championship caliber team DNA, and they're going to find ways to at least be in the play-in, but that's not good enough if I'm a Golden State Warriors fan.
Yeah, having to mess around with the play-in if the Warriors is not something that you want to be doing, especially with the age of their roster. All right, you mentioned the health of the Golden State Warriors. Let me talk about the health of the Los Angeles Clippers. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George have played every single game this season. I repeat, Kawhi and Paul George, as of currently stands, have played every single game this season, and yet they are 7-9 on the season, 11th in the Western Conference, 4-6 in the last 10. Offensive rating, with all of that talent, Danny, 20th in the NBA, 6th on the defensive rating side. But I think the thing that sticks out to me most was that loss to the Denver Nuggets at home. No Jokic, no Jamal Murray, no Aaron Gordon. And yet they still lost that game. Has to be a big time concern, at least for me. We won't even do it. I won't even do it as it pertains to the top 6. Let's just talk about it as them potentially not making the playoffs in general, Danny. Because you could be a player team and eventually make the playoffs. Your concern level for the Los Angeles Clippers as being a playoff team, 1 to 5.
I would say 3 or 4. It's closer, go a little less than Golden State, but it's still pretty high. Shocking that they're 6th in defensive rating. I did not know that. Did not expect that. With all those guys being healthy, which means there's going to be a point where they're not healthy. And you said offensively they're just not, because they don't have the rhythm. Sometimes when you trade for a better player, doesn't mean it's the best fit. Just because there's a better guy out there doesn't mean it's a better fit. And I just don't think trading for the better player made sense for them fit-wise offensively. It's hard for all 4 of those guys to get a rhythm. There's only one basketball. You have to share time and space, and it's just some nights certain guys gonna have good nights, and then it's gonna be like 50-50. Like half those guys gonna have good nights, and the other half are gonna feel left out or not have a rhythm, not play well. Kawhi may score well, and then PG have a tough night. PG may score well, Kawhi have a tough night. James and Russ are pretty much split minutes at the point guard where they're not even getting a ton of shots or looks, so they're barely in rhythm. And it's weird that it's tough for that group to score. But my concern level, 3.5, 4 for them for sure.
All right, real quick. Well, before we get to the last team in the worry meter, your reaction to Gregg Popovich telling the San Antonio fans that they're better than this. Don't boo Kawhi Leonard.
Well, he has multiple reasons for why he does things. Pop is not, he's no dummy. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's a genius. He's a chess player, it's not checkers. And he knows that every time they boo Kawhi, he gives them 30 and a loss. So that's part of the reason. And other part of it is, he's probably tired of hearing it or seeing it. It's been some time since Kawhi left. It's, and a part of their organization, how they do things is with class. So I think he said it enough times in the media, and I think he had enough of it, and he just felt like he needed to go to the mic and tell people, because obviously some people may not watch interviews. Some people not pay attention to the media stuff. They just go to the game and just want to heckle or boo or cheer for their team, which is fine. You're very much allowed to do so. But the way they handle things in San Antonio is very different. I think everybody in the rest of the sports world knows that, and especially the rest of the NBA. But said he's no dummy. He knows exactly what he's dealing with. And I think the more they boo Kawhi, I think he thinks that the more he feeds into it and kills them and gives them 30-point games and losses. So he doesn't want that anymore. He's tired of seeing him bust their ass with the boos happening at the same time.
Yeah, I would tell Gregg Popovich this. I know how great he is as a coach. Don't tell fans how to act. That's probably the last. I don't care what fan base it is. Don't. Whatever you tell them to do, especially if it's something that's against what they're doing, they're probably going to continue to do what they were doing. Nobody likes to be told what to do.
As a Knicks fan, most people.
Nobody likes to be told what to do. I don't care who you are. Unless you're the man upstairs, you'll be telling me what to do. I'm a grown-ass man. I'm a grown-ass fan.
Yeah, you're a New Yorker. And to people in Texas and San Antonio, Pop is the man upstairs. The man's won 5 championships for that city. He can do no wrong. That's just like Dirk in Dallas. There's certain people in certain cities, you tell whoever the hell you want to tell, with fans, coaches, organization, they going to listen. Now, New Yorkers, they different. Northeasterners, you can't do that in Philly, Boston, New York. Those fans are different. In Texas, they respect and they have some respect, and they look at him as the man upstairs. So, yes, he can for sure, and he's earned that respect in Texas to be able to tell the fans how he feels.
For the Spurs fans listening to this podcast, I am going to be disappointed in you if you don't continue to boo Kawhi Leonard just because Gregg Popovich told you to. Do what you feel you want to do. I'm gonna leave it.
You're gonna be a disappointed
fan. All right, so the last one. Let's go to the Toronto Raptors. Record 8-10, 11th in the Eastern Conference, 4-6 in their last 10. Offensive rating 24th. Defensive rating only 13th, despite all the defensive talent they have over there. Scotty Barnes playing very well in his third year. 19 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 45% from the field, 38% from 3. The bad thing, Pascal Siakam this season, averaging under 20 points per game, shooting 20% from the 3-point line. And Danny, it feels as if, especially with Pascal Siakam being a free agent this offseason, this could very well be the end of the OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam. The very last remnants of that title team can very well be in different parts. My question for you, as it pertains to the worry meter, how worried would you be that this would be the last season of having any remnants of the championship Raptors? AKA, is it time to finally wrap this thing up, start from anew?
If I'm a fan, I'm extremely worried that those because I think it's pretty much over after this season. And that's a pretty good run of keep because it's been for 5 years since we had the title. So within 2 or 3 years, most of the team is gone. Have you seen Devin Booker? They went to the finals a couple of years ago, and he's the only person left in the Phoenix Suns team. So yeah, Toronto. I think if if you're worried about trying to keep those guys, yeah, it's going to be very unlikely. I think they're going to be moving on to different, situations. But, the expectations for that team were very high when Fred left. And even with Fred there, they weren't expected to be, contenders, but at least a playoff team. So my worry meter for them staying is very high, but worry meter with the expectation is not very high for this group. I think they're going to do what they're expected to do, if not better, because they've been playing well. And Schroeder has been great for them as a pickup and replacement for Fred so far. Not that he's replacing Fred, but he's come in and stepped in and done a really good job in that role.
I know Masai Ujiri and Bobby Wester have come under fire for some of their managerial moves over the past couple of years. For example, Fred VanVleet just left, nothing in return. Norman Powell just left, nothing in return.
Look at Gary Trent. There's a trade for Gary Trent.
Oh yeah, you're right. My bad. Who's the other person? Oh, Kyle Lowry left, got nothing in return. And obviously now Pascal Siakam going into
there was I think Kyle was a trade, was a sign and trade because I think that got Precious, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Who else?
Not as much as you would like to get in return for the people.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just put it like that. Let's just say that. Yes, did not get enough in return for the players that they lost, but I'll say this: Pascal Siakam, the way he's playing,
Kawhi left with nothing in return.
Well, that's the obvious one, but you can't blame them for that. They had to fight for. They fought.
Danny Green left.
You didn't get nothing in return for you.
Yeah,
you just left.
I don't think they felt they didn't. They had Norm. They still had Norm. They had good pieces there.
Yeah.
They had replacements already for your boy.
Yeah. Well, put it like this: one way or another, if I know the sentiment is that they could have done a bit better in retaining or retrieving talents and some of the talent they let get out the building.
Sure.
But that's
Marc Gasol, Serge Ibaka, those guys.
Yes. Yeah. And honestly, and what I wanted to say eventually was that Pascal Siakam is not making it easy for them to get anything in return for him. They were just thinking about trading him this before the trading deadline. The way he's performing right now, it's not the type of return that you would have hoped for a guy who you was basically slotting to be your number one star after the championship title there in Toronto. All right, got to get out of here real quick because I'm going to run late for a meeting. However, real quick story. I was walking in through New York City the other day. I got somebody driving in an expensive car, pulled me over, asked me to talk to them for a moment. Their story: they were visiting from Dubai, lost their ID, had no money in their name because all their money was in their wallet. Lost their wallet, lost their ID, lost everything. Had to drive down to Florida to go see the consulate to apparently get their ID and basically verify their identification so they can eventually fly back. This person, I gave them the money that I had on my body, which was $100 bill. Good Samaritan, I gave him $100. At this moment in time, this person was pleading with me, saying, I need more money. He was in a car with his little brother, and he was pulling at my heartstrings. He even started praying while I was with him, and it pulled at even more heartstrings for me, to the point where I went to the ATM and I gave this man money. Now, for those people listening and saying, Harrison, you're out of your goddamn mind, he also offered me things to make me feel better about the money that I was giving him. So if you're watching us on YouTube, these are the things that he gave me. He gave me 18 karat necklace, not one, but two. I'm gonna put them on just so people can understand. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, I haven't verified if these are real or not, but I wanted to trust him. I wanted to be a trustworthy person. All right, so that's two. He also gave me, did I drop it? I hope not. He also gave me this ring, so I'm just gonna put it on just for TV. All right, yeah, look at me. And then this, and now Danny's the real watch guy, as you guys probably know. If you don't, now you know. He also gave me. Let me try. Maybe the camera can see this. What is
the pinky, bro? It's a Rolex watch.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. You're not married.
I don't know how to wear jewelry.
Yeah, you good. Yeah, that Rolex watch. We don't. It sounds like you got kid. We don't know. We're gonna find out soon. Tune in. But Harrison, good Samaritan man for the holidays, gave this gentleman some money.
The guy was pleading.
And you did something kindness out of your heart with return of maybe something that might be real and probably not real. But we'll find out soon, and we'll keep you guys tuned. But he's blinged out for the holidays with stuff from Chinatown.
I don't want these things, but I wanted to believe this man was really going through it. So Mustafa Ali, if you are listening to this podcast, I hope you made it to your location safely. You have my number. I hope you didn't get me, because if you got me, I'm taking all this to the pawn shop, and I'm getting my money back that I gave you. I hope you got this safely. Maybe hopefully I can make my money back. And I'll say this: if this is fake, I ain't trusting the human soul again, Danny. Sorry.
You live in New York. You should never trust the human soul in New York, bro.
I was going against all of my New York City inclinations, and I was trusting that he had his brother in the car. And then what really got me, then he started praying. I'm like, all right, you mess with your own God, all right? If you want to mess with God like that, that's on you.
You're a good Samaritan kid. Happy holidays to those. Hope the Thanksgivings were good. Christmas is coming up. You treated him, and so hopefully everybody else has a good holiday too. Hopefully Harrison did get got, and we find out that watch is real, because then he'll have a nice little bankroll.
So what I do, if the Rolex is real, then I just hold on to it, right? I hold on to it until Mustafa hits me back.
I guess you can keep it, you can wear it, or you can still get.
Do I sell it?
I'd hold on to it for a little while, see if he wants to get it back. But if not, I would definitely sell it and get you because you don't value those things. I would get you something that you would maybe a nice little trip for the holidays.
There you go.
That watch would be worth some thousands of dollars.
All right, everybody. We'll update you next week if I got, or if there actually are good and honest people out there in the world. Enjoy the in-season tournament, because we'll probably talk to you after the quarterfinal games on Monday. Until then, enjoy your weekends. Happy holidays, y'all. We'll see you next time.
Peace.